Hello and welcome to this special feature on Waves Film Bazaar with Creative First. Our guest today is film editor Sankajit Biswas. Sankajit, welcome to this discussion.
Thank you so much for calling me.
What makes a good edit feel alive to you?
I think it depends on the narrative. As long as whatever you are creating, uh, the communication that you want to make through the story and through the cuts, if that is communicated properly, then it comes alive. And the most important thing, as we all know that Walter March, all these 6 points. So the emotion comes first. So as long as the emotion is properly created within the audience, I feel that is where the editor's success lies.
What drew you to Dui Dhuranir Golpo and how did you build trust with the community?
Okay, that has a long history basically. So once I came out of the institute, I was studying editing at SRFTI, and I have started editing quite early. When I was in SRFTI only, I started editing multiple documentaries, and documentary attracted me more that time. And so I was also thinking that when do I start my own film? Uh, so there were couple of subjects that I was doing my research on, and that was also the time when I came to know from a newspaper report that the first transition through surgery, which is called sex reassignment surgery, that has started, and there were about I came to know about two person who did that surgery in Kolkata. So I was looking for someone who would, allow me to, shoot this process of, pre-surgery and, post-surgery. How does this change happen? How does this change, affect someone? Uh, so during that research, I tried to contact a few people, but no one allowed me that time. So that was also the time when I sort of, connected with the trans community. And there was a friend of mine who connected me with a group of transgender here. So they also were part of this NGO who set up the first shelter home for trans community, first shelter home in Asia. So that was a very small place basically, but it was geared towards giving shelter to the trans community. So that is where I met my characters of Dridurani Balpo, and that is also on the very first day when I met my characters. I should not say characters, but yeah, they are very young then, 15, 16, 17, all these people, and you feel a kind of a spark that like they are you feel like you want to work with them, you want to make a film on them. So, and that was very close to my home also. So all of it together, I think it was sort of a coincidence, like a divine coincidence that brought me to these people, and I started very very quickly. In fact, I started shooting. So I started shooting with them, and for 1.5 years I followed them. I shot with them, and then it took another 6 months to do the edit. That is how the entire film happened.
How does the editing process differ between fiction and documentary for you?
Basically, I was trained in fiction editing, and of course, documentary editing is also part of our course curriculum in SRFTI, and which is given a quite a lot of weightage in terms of because documentary hardly even few years ago also people do not have did not have much of documentary taste in our country. I think still it is quite less, but a few years ago it was even less. And there was so-called this FD documentaries, what people used to say, with voiceover, one kind of visual, voiceover and B-roll, what they call. So that used to be the standard documentary, practice. And of course, there were a few other people also who were making serious documentaries. But overall, in our country, the documentary practice was quite, like a second-hand citizen in the film world. So in SRFTI, we had a very different kind of scenario because dockage, if you know about dockage started in SRFTI, and that was when we were student in 2004. So with that, we got a huge exposure of international documentaries, really good documentaries, and the aspiration came into us that uh, how the documentary should be made, how seriously we should take it, and it also as an editor, documentary is always challenging, and documentary is something where you get the editor's role is very important. In fact, apart from the director's role, editor's role is the most important part in documentary. That is what I have also seen. So I slowly I went towards documentary in my initial part of the career, and then about after 6, 7, 8 years, then start fiction started coming to my plate. And what I failed in my initial days is that my approach towards fiction editing was a bit different from, I think, the conventional fiction editing. I think it happened because of my all these years of practice with documentary. That also gave me sort of a confidence on rescripting the scenes in the post. And I must say that I was quite fortunate to work with people who gave me those liberty, that like changing the script in some way. For example, if I have a scene here towards the end of it, end of the maybe first act, and I could take it to the, say, third act, and something from the third act I could take it in the first act or second act. Those were flexibilities I used to experiment with. And fortunately, as I said, that my directors allowed me in some cases that to have those in my final structure. So restructuring is something that I really enjoyed while editing fiction. And I think in a general sense, there is not much difference, because if you are working on a documentary which follows characters, then it is obviously something which is very similar to fiction. You need to create scenes with the characters, and the major difference is that in documentary you don't have the script. In fiction, you already have a script, and the entire shooting material follows the script. And whereas in a documentary, when you are character based documentaries particularly, you have this, the scenes are built, and then a script is written in the post, in the editing table, which I really like. That is also something which, because of that practice, I have this, I developed this sense of how script should be written, more or less, I should say. uh, so this is I think has been my practice, and I don't really consciously think of fiction should be this and documentary should be this. Uh, but of course, yeah, there are different types of documentaries, different types of fiction also. But I think there is not much difference in the approach to that.
When was the first time you attended Waves Film Bazaar?
It was in 2015.
And
That time,
what made you think about attending it then?
So I went with Habam Pawan Kumar, who was making a feature film. Habam Pawan, we were in the same batch in institute, and we also started, making films. He started making documentaries first, so I was editing all his films. In the institute, also we did all our projects together. Post SRFTI, also we did all the projects together. So he was making first fiction then, and so we applied to work in progress lab, and from there it was selected, and then it went to, I mean, once it was completed, it went to Busan and Berlin and other festivals. It also won awards, a national award and award at Mami, the top award, and Asia Pacific Screen Award. Multiple awards it won.
So that's fantastic. But in your opinion, how does Film Bazaar serve as that platform where you kind of probably went there for funding the film, or were you there for a workshop?
No, basically both. If you
Right.
ask me, it was both, because we were making the film with, it's a very independent kind of film. So if you consider what is the role of Film Bazaar, today it is Waves Film Bazaar. I think to give this platform to the independent filmmakers is a very very important. It has a very very important part in that. The kind of films that we see from India today going to different festivals, winning awards and major festivals. In fact, most of these films, in some part, I think it was connected to Film Bazaar. So when we started making that film, since it was, it was a very spontaneous start of a film from the journey of a documentary. So it was not like, in a way, we went to lab with the script in hand or a co-production market. At that time we already shot the film, and we did a rough cut, and then we sent it to work in progress lab. So that is sort of a journey of that film through Film Bazaar, and the rough cut was also in the viewing room. So some people watched it over there, and we were also given the opportunity to pitch the film. It was, if I'm not wrong, it was in Film Bazaar Recommends that time, FBR. So we got to pitch the film, and from there only there was this studio from Kolkata. They came to us and they offered us, for example, the post production services, you know, for free. Like, that was like an award for us, because of course, even post production is quite expensive, for independent filmmakers. We did not get the award that was given that time by Prasad, but this was like an award. We managed to get the service for free. So, and a lot of people came to know about the film. Uh, that was also the time when we sort of connected with other people who came to Film Bazaar as delegates, as co-producers, as distributors, film festival programmers. They saw the film. They sort of, that was the initial points of connection. So that is how it actually played a major role in the success of that particular film.
And how was your experience after Film Bazaar in international film markets?
With that film, it started going to festivals, winning awards and all. I went to Film Bazaar next year also, just for a visit next year, because Pawan pitched another film next year. In 2016, the film is called Joseph's Son, and Joseph's Son later on was produced by NFDC. So again, that film particularly, it was pitched here, and then later on we got the funding from NFDC. So this is how the second film journey also started. And I particularly, when I went to Film Bazaar in 2016, my second documentary was in IFFI Indian Panorama, and so I visited there, and I met uh, a Bangladeshi filmmaker over there. His project was also there in Film Bazaar, and we sort of connected, and I edited his film later. It's a very successful film from Bangladesh. It is called Nona Joler Kabbo, the salt in our waters. It premiered at BFI London and went to Busan, went to many other festivals. When I think it won Netpack Award and all. So I think many of these films that I have edited somehow are related to many films. Not all films, but many films are somehow related to Film Bazaar. Aguntuk, another film which was in Busan, that was in Film Bazaar. I don't remember which year, but it premiered at Busan 2023 in the competition section. So there are many films which I edited are from Film Bazaar. So my connection with Film Bazaar, even though I just been there twice only, but my connection is very strong.
How can Waves Film Bazaar best support editors? Because, from what I'm hearing from you, when you first attended Film Bazaar in 2015, you may or may have not been a filmmaker then. And I think, people from all segments of film should attend Waves Film Bazaar. But how can it best support editors?
I think it is already supporting editors in one particular segment, which is the work in progress lab. I think
Tell us more about that.
Sorry.
Tell us more about that.
Yeah. So work in progress lab is when when your shooting is finished and you have done a rough cut and you are sending it over there. And so if it is selected for that lab, so usually I think they select about 6 to 8 projects for the. It's like a mentorship program. So I remember in 2015 there were about one or two producer directors in the panel, and there were about I think 4 editors. So each of these foreign editors, really important editors from maybe Europe, America, different places, and from their point of view, if they are seeing the film in the rough cut stage, so they can actually guide you what works better for the people in the West. And I believe you know acknowledge the fact that for the independent filmmakers, I think international market is very important than domestic market. So I think it is important that you also understand what works in the international market, in the in the fiction market, and so then you can sort of tweak your editing style, and without compromising with your style of filmmaking, of course. That is what we also did. Uh, so that is something which is very important for the editors, because for the work in progress lab, it is director and editor duo who are invited there, and they also have to do changes, little bit of changes that this mentor suggest. So that is how it works. So I think that is a very important segment in Film Bazaar, which really works for editors. The other thing that I can suggest right now is probably, which of course happens. I don't have track of everything, but there are knowledge series.
Yes.
Where, yeah, so where this editing, there are sessions on editing sometimes. So if that can be given more little, maybe every year. For example, I can tell you. For example, I don't know if it is happening this time anywhere. So for example, editing of Sholay. Now we are celebrating 50 years of Sholay, right? So Sholay editing has been a huge achievement. I still show some parts of Sholay to my students to tell them that today we are editing with digital system, but 50 years ago, when Mr. Shinde has worked with those film rolls and everything, and it's a long film. So what was there in his mind, while editing that particular scene.
Right.
I keep showing them that the train sequence uh, in the beginning. It's a wonderful sequence, wonderfully edited sequence. So these are certain things. Maybe if you can bring that just as a every year, maybe if you can keep one sequence for the editors, and also like we also have creative minds of tomorrow. I don't know whether it is part of Film Bazaar or not, but somehow if we can connect these two, and when they are making films, if editing can be given little more impetus, like team building, something like that.
Sure.
Those are few things that can be done, I guess.
What are you looking forward to at Waves Film Bazaar this year?
So this is a very unique opportunity for me this year, because this is the first time I am going there as director, and this is also my first fiction feature. So I'm very excited, and so I think I'm very open to all kinds of collaborations. Seeking collaborations from Film Bazaar. But of course, since this is a initial phase, we are looking for co-producers. We are looking for labs, screenplay labs. If we can develop the screenplay further in some through some labs, we are seeking early sort of interest from say distributor, sales agent, if they are interested. We are open to everything. I am really open to everything, and I think meeting people there, just discussing project with them, it also if we just accept the fact that there are every single human being has a take on something, every single subject. So I feel it is very interesting that when you tell the story, suppose if I tell the story to you, you will tell me, you will give me your feedback on that story. You will say that I like this, I don't like this, I like this for this particular matter, I don't like this for this particular matter. And those are the things I think are very important when you develop the script, and when you go towards the final shape of the film. It's like all these small atomic kind of atomic atom particles of feedbacks that shapes the film's final outcome. So I think that is something which is very important, and I'm going there with open heart that I will talk to many people, as many people as possible.
Thank you, Sankarjeet, for sharing your insights with us. Excited to see how your blend of political urgency and poetic storytelling will continue to evolve.